But I had to make you understand. Am I really so bad? Am I really so frightening? You've talked to me? You've confided in me? Have I tried to hurt you? It isn't me you're afraid of. You understand me. What you're afraid of is the unknown. Don't be afraid.
But I am afraid.
The running's over. It's time to rest.
Chris Scouser here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to lace up our Air Jordans and start stretching for the latest Stephen King big screen adaptation. It's The Long Walk. Is it the perfect time for a dystopian thriller to take our minds off of, everything? Then the legendary metal band Spinal Tap returns. With Spinal Tap II, the end continues. Can David, Nigel, and Derek still dial things up to 11? I wonder how many bad Spinal Tap puns like that are out there for a podcast. It must be thousands, right? And then Matt and I are actually going to go old school and bring back the final segment with a top 5 in honor of Robert Redford's passing. And we're going to share our 5 favorite Robert Redford films. Let's start everything off, though, with a clip from The Long Walk.
I like you, but if you fall over, I won't pick you up.
We're all in this together, right? There's no harm in keeping each other amused.
You know what? I take it back. They say you shouldn't make friends on a long walk, but fuck it, I sort of like you three. Even you, Olsen.
Fuck off.
No, I'm serious. Hey. The short friendship is better than no friendship, right?
That's what I've been saying,
That's
man.
what I'm be saying. Come on, man. Let's be musketeers.
How the fuck are we gonna be musketeers? There's 4 of us.
Come on now. We stick together to where all that's left. How about that? All for one.
One for all.
No, and again, I need to hear it louder. All for one.
And one for all.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not you.
Wow, Matt, this Long Walk sounds like a really fun, rousing adventure film with a bunch of bros.
It does. It is.
What is it all about?
So it's the near future. It's post some event that nearly tore the United States apart. The assumption is some kind of civil war. What I would only assume is the bad guys won. And essentially they have this event every year where young men who are 18 or older can put their name into a lottery, and one is chosen from each state to essentially walk in a single direction without stopping. Not stopping to sleep, not stopping to eat, not stopping to go to the bathroom. And if they fall behind, they are killed. And you are forced to walk until there's only one left.
But you get a big cash prize and a wish, basically.
That is true.
That
is true. And it's also, of course, televised for the entertainment of the country.
Right. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
Right. I think there's a plan now. There were some discussions about having a television show about immigrants trying to earn their citizenship into the United States. So,
that's not real. You're not serious, are you?
Google it. There was talk. There was somebody, I don't know if it was an ICE or I can't remember what it was, but somebody had floated the idea of doing something like that. Yes.
That's awful.
So The Long Walk, Matt was really excited about this. In fact, initially we had just had Spinal Tap II with potentially The Long Walk. Matt put an ultimatum down on me. He goes, listen, buddy, I'm going to see this. I'm really interested in seeing this. And I'm like, well, if I can work it into my schedule, I'll try and do it. And thankfully for Matt and for you, the listener, I was able to. So we'll actually have more of a discussion instead of just Matt prattling on about, The Long Walk, like he always does about his stuff.
Of course, yes.
So how does this work, Matt, for you in the wide range of Stephen King adaptations? I'm also curious how it differs from the book. I'm assuming you've read it. Mm-hmm. How does it work? How did it work for you? Did you enjoy The Long Walk? What do you got?
Yeah, I think overall, it's a pretty entertaining film, right? It's not anything groundbreaking from a sense of, a dystopian force young people to sacrifice themselves on the altar of whatever the country needs kind of thing. It's got a very, Hunger Games / The Purge kind of, idea, right? So I think this is all kind of built on the performances that these people give, right? And I think they're all really well done. You have a game Mark Hamill hamming it up as the Major, right? In his sunglasses and gruff voice. And, overall, I think it's quite effective. I thought it was quite entertaining as far as what I would call a B-movie, thriller, right? It's a little bit of a video nasty kind of thing. And I think overall, it works pretty well. There are some changes from the book. One is,
the ending, from what I understand, is very different.
The ending is very different, yes. They focus on a lot in the book around people losing their minds on the long walk, right? But you can't really get into that from that inner monologue and kind of being inside someone's head. So that's kind of abandoned here, probably wisely. And, some of the specifics are changed, right? He wrote that you had to maintain 4 miles per hour, which would basically be a jog. It's not really a walk at that point. So, they made some adjustments or whatever. But overall, I think it's true to the spirit of the book.
Okay, one thing we got to tackle, Matt. I think we have to nix groundbreaking, or at least not groundbreaking, from your vocabulary.
Oh, really?
Because
okay.
I think you say it almost every single time when you see something that's good, but it's not terribly great. I had an issue for a long time years ago. I think I used the word haunting every episode for 3 months in a row or something like that. It was really bad. So I was able to exercise. So I'm going to give you a little help. Innovative, inventive, creative, disruptive, seminal, original, new, novel, fresh, unconventional, unorthodox, off-center. So let's see if we can work some of that for the future.
Fantastic.
I'm just trying to help you grow as a person.
That's okay. I don't need to grow anymore. I'm 46 years old. I'm where I'm going to be at this point, right?
Fine. All right. You don't want to take any constructive criticism? That's your first warning.
Yep. My first warning.
You get an hour to work off that warning. If a second warning comes
enough.
Through, well, then you get 2 hours you have to work it off.
You're
right?
sending the spirit of Stephen Miller to my house to take care of things.
That's right. The little goblin gnome himself is coming to your house to
That's right.
Scurry
First
away.
person to come is Kash Patel, but then it's going to get real serious, and it's going to be Stephen Miller.
Man, the funny thing about Patel, too, is that he just constantly looks like you walked in on him, jacking off in the bathroom. Just constantly what am I doing? Totally out of his depth. Just an absolute...
Yeah, jacking off in the bathroom to, a picture of his cousin or something.
Yes. You know what really upset me today? They had the hearing today. I have the exact same glasses, the exact same rims that he has.
Oh, my God. Well, I knew it.
And I just updated my prescription, so I just bought them and I just got them. So I'm not going to swap them out now. That's $300 something to change in the hole.
Well, you know what? If you really cared, Chris, you would.
That's true. What are we talking about?
The Long Walk.
So, and I think it's funny. I know we had a little diversion there, but I think this film is exceptionally political and it really speaks, I think, to its time. Mm-hmm. No, granted, when was the original book come out, Matt?
It was in the early 70s. This is the first book Stephen King wrote. Now Carrie was the 79. First one that was published, but this is the first one that he wrote. I think he wrote it when he was 19 or 20 years old.
And he wrote it under the Richard Bachman pseudonym.
That's how it was published. That's right. Yes.
What was the difference? Why did he do that again now? Was this because it was a different style of...
Not just a different style, but I guess he wanted to prove to himself that it wasn't just his name when Carrie and The Shining and Salem's Lot blew up. He wanted to say that, am I actually a good writer? So he started writing other things to see how well those would do under a different name.
Fair enough. All right. So I gotta be honest with you, I was a little skeptical when I first heard about this film. The trailer was interesting, but nothing, as Matt would say, it wasn't groundbreaking. It didn't blow me away. And also it was directed by Francis Lawrence, who, let's be fair, has been shaky as a director, right?
Sure.
He did Constantine. I think that was his first directorial debut. A lot of people like Constantine. I think it's okay. And if you're able to separate the fact that is not the John Constantine that I grew up with and that I read as a kid in the comics, then it's, a little more enjoyable. Plus, I will say, probably has my favorite depiction of Satan in a film, if I'm being honest.
Peter Stormare knocks that out of the park.
Yeah, and then I Am Legend, not good. I've not seen Water for Elephants. He basically directed all the Hunger Games movies, and he's actually doing the reboot one too, as well, which comes out next year. Red Sparrow, that's a bad movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Slumberland either. And actually, I didn't see The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That was the first reboot film, wasn't it? So I'm a little behind on that. Sorry. But I'll say for The Long Walk, I found this film exceptionally good. All right? I really enjoyed this. And I emotionally connected this as a film more so than I have in a lot of stuff recently. And I don't know if it is because, unfortunately for me, I'm cursed to participate in and pay attention to the current political climate, that it felt so very real to me in a way. I know this may sound insane to people, but in a slightly skewed alternate reality of this version of the United States, I could see something like this happening.
Yeah.
It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. And it deeply upset me. I think the way we get introduced to the characters, I think they're all interesting. They're not caricatures. I do a relatively good job of fleshing out and relaying, just establishing these people to us. Now, some of them do exist just to die, to kind of move the plot along, which is fair, and they don't all get that kind of fair treatment. But I think we get pretty good stuff here out of Cooper Hoffman, and particularly David Johnson, I think is the beating heart of this film. And I've always been a little sketchy on Cooper Hoffman. I was not impressed with him in Licorice Pizza. Maybe I need to revisit that. I don't know. But here, I think he's quite good. And some of the other characters, too. Not all of them, again, but a lot of them, I think, are very well developed. And I think when the walkers fail, the way they shoot the deaths of them and the audio, the sound design of it, it really just almost echoes through my head. It is very severe and very graphic and very uncomfortable to watch. Each execution, Matt, just stuck with me. And the entire time, too, you could feel, even though it's just all these people walking on a road with the military, that just the brutal specter of fascism was smothering the entire event, entire proceeds from the beginning to end. And it just really bothered me. And to use an old school term I brought up earlier, it haunted me. It truly did. And I think, too, Hoffman was an interesting choice, given, the sudden loss of his father, Philip Seymour Hoffman, to take this role on as well. I think this must have been an interesting and difficult performance for him at times, and I respect him for doing it. I think it was a really interesting choice for him to do this. I will say, if anything goes wrong for me, I think the conclusion feels slightly forced to me. I think it kind of unravels a bit in the final 20 minutes, but I think ultimately, redeems itself just by how nihilistic it is. Mm-hmm. By having Pete's character kind of near the end make the decision that he does, being the only kind of vision of light and goodness, kind of hope in the film, to then have that taken away from him and makes the decision that he does, is just it's heartbreaking to watch it. And in the end, too, I'm curious, and I guess maybe this devolves into spoiler territory. In the end, when we have our winner and the event takes place, when he walks off, my gut is he's been shot and killed, and he's moving on to the next plane.
Yeah.
Or is it that at that point this person has given up all hope and is just enshrouded in darkness, and that's why, though there is a light at the end, the pathway is still dark? From what I understand in the book, the actual specter of death appears right at the end. Right. So I'm not sure. How did you interpret that ending? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think the original ending, the one that's in the book, right? There's this implication that you can take it quite literally, right? That it's a Stephen King novel, that it really is the specter of death, right? Or something metaphysical going on. But they've been all kind of losing their minds slowly, so he's like hallucinating kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I think by the sheer fact, I think maybe apart from my, straying from my own character a bit, I think that it's like that he's walking off away from everything that's like leaving everything else behind, right? And not necessarily that he's dead, but that he just keeps moving forward because that's all he knows how to do anymore.
That's interesting. I kind of like that. Yeah, I don't know. My reaction was that he was shot and killed. Yeah. In fact, I don't even know if he gets to accomplish the ultimate thing he tries to do. I think the moment that the action he takes, I would have thought that he'd be shot dead right there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I don't know. I like the fact that it is slightly ambiguous, and you kind of are allowed to come to your own conclusion for that.
I will say that on the 4K release, they've already released the packaging or whatever, and it includes an alternate ending as one of the special features. I guess that was whatever the alternate ending was the original ending that they went with in the film, but I guess it was too much of a downer for test audiences, so they changed it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder then if it's... I would think my ending is even more upsetting.
Yeah, like, so he does what he does, and then he gets taken out, like, right away.
Or he doesn't even get to that point.
Right, true. Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, how do you feel then about Stephen King adaptations? I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's not a stellar list when it comes to good adaptations. Now, there are some that are stone cold classics, but I would think the majority of them have not been.
Honestly, with a few exceptions, I think the ones that are not in the horror realm are the ones that tend to be most successful, right? So... Your Stand By Me's, your Shawshank Redemptions, things like that. I know you weren't a big fan of it, but I really enjoyed The Life of Chuck, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I think outside of really The Shining, right, and then maybe Dr. Sleep, an extension of The Shining, that's probably more of an effect of Flanagan than anything else, and Kubrick. Yeah, I think they are mostly a mixed bag. I think heavily weighted towards the not-so-great category.
So, but you would chalk this up to some of the better ones? Top 10?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, I would say it's probably top 10.
Now, that's a ranking we should do at some point there.
Yeah, which it
Not
is.
tonight. We got too much to get through. Maybe we can plan for that when we do Running Man.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anything else? I like the anachronisms about it, because all the cars, I think, look like 50s and 60s cars. But it's kind of... So, my thought was... Well, no, because the military weapons, though, don't match that.
The way I interpret it is like a Cuba. Like in Cuba, they're still driving around the old cars.
Right.
So like most of the country, they can't get new stuff and they can't afford it. So all they do is just keep, repairing old stuff to keep it running because it's the best they can do.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, given the world we've created here. And then, too, Hamill. I loved Hamill in this. In fact, I didn't even know it was him.
Yeah.
I totally whiffed. I forgot that he was in this film. And the whole thing, I'm thinking, like, who did I think it was? Like, well, that's not Powers Booth. He's dead. And then there was somebody else, too, I thought it might have been. And then the credits came up, like, oh, that's right. That was Hamill. Oh, he was great. I really liked him in this a lot. It was the first time I've seen him. Now, granted, it's probably the mustache, the sunglasses, and everything, where I did not see Mark Hamill in this movie. Though I would say he was quite good in Life of Chuck, I think, as well.
Yeah.
But for this, I think maybe because of the buried under the makeup and stuff, there wasn't look, it's Luke Skywalker. So that's good. One of the better adaptations of Stephen King property for me as well. I'm sitting at an A- for The Long Walk, Matt. I really was taken by this.
Yeah. I'm going to give it an A- as well. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you got a chance to catch it.
Yeah, me too. If you had a chance to see it, it's currently in theaters. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, I'm going to do something else quickly, too. We don't really have the physical media section anymore, but there's a couple things I just need to make everybody aware of, just so you know.
Okay.
First off, Matt, I got my Foreigner 4 Deluxe Edition today, which includes the album in Atmos.
Super exciting.
And includes a whole bunch of songs they recorded for the album that they didn't actually release. And then demos of other stuff, instrumental tracks, rough mixes, and then a whole concert. And then the album on Blu-ray audio and Atmos. And there's a new 2025 stereo mix, too. And I listened to the Atmos mix on iTunes because it's available on Apple Music right now. And let me tell you, it sucks. It's bad. And I tweeted out a couple things about it. Excuse me. I skeeted out a couple things about it on Blue Sky. And I am really upset. And I'm thinking about doing like a one-off TFR focus on how much I hate this Atmos mix of this album, one of the seminal rock albums of the 80s, and possibly the best thing Foreigner ever put out.
Right.
And this new mix is bad. I haven't opened this yet. The only reason I want to keep it is because of the live concert, and then having these unreleased songs and alternate mixes and stuff like that. I'm curious about that. But the Atmos mix with the new 2025 stereo mix, I haven't listened to that all the way through yet, just the Atmos, which it's going to be the same mix, just flat. And I'm not happy. I am really disappointed. What else? Nightmare on Elm Street, Matt, 4K set's coming out in about a week or so, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Remember, folks, if you go to groove.com, which I believe is, what's Groove? Is that Universal's direct physical media site?
Yeah.
You use the coupon code SIGNUP20, you get 20% off your purchase. And you have like a Google email. If your email is like Matt's, which is matt.hotguy.howl@gmail.com, it doesn't recognize the dots.
Okay.
So you can keep reusing. It's only for first-time customers, but you can keep reusing it. You just move the dot in your email, and then Groove site will think it's a new email, and you can get that sign up 20 again and again.
Nice.
So the Nightmare on Elm Street, it's only $100, and you get all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies in 4K, including the director's cuts of the first film and Dream Warriors.
Okay.
So you 20% off of that. Now you're in business.
Yeah.
Finally, my Superman is shipped. My Superman Steelbook from Groove, which I used that 20% off on, shipped today, so I should be getting that soon. And to go with that, it's going to be on Max this Friday. So if you didn't get a chance to catch up with James Gunn's Superman, it'll hit Max on Friday. And then today, on the recording of this episode, which is on Tuesday, Amazon has an exclusive Steelbook, and Walmart has an interesting pop-up book of Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you're figuring on picking that up, I got to tell you, the Steelbook looks sharp. That Amazon exclusive Steelbook looks pretty cool. So you may want to check into that. So I guess that's basically it. All right, good. Let's spend a few minutes then and talk about one of Matt's favorite subjects, big bottoms. It's going to be Spinal Tap II.
A lot has happened since the last time I saw you.
Crypto.
Have you been playing music at all?
I play music at a pub.
This is the site of Spinal Tap's reunion concert. Why New Orleans?
There was a cancellation.
Who was supposed to be there?
An evening with Stormy Daniels.
Oh.
Obviously, there'll be the regular merch.
Yes.
And Hope has had a rather brilliant idea.
Tap water.
It says artisan.
It's just tap water.
tap water. We're still short a drummer.
What happened to him?
He sneezed himself into oblivion.
Is that medically possible?
So you think he might fill the bill?
I don't want to die.
We've only lost 11 or 12? 11 drummers.
The thing that you guys had as kids, is that still there?
I'm in a band that constantly is breaking apart and coming back together. But the more we retreat into the music, the nicer things become. Not to be profound or anything, and it would be a first time for me.
Matt, I rewatched the Spinal Tap. I got the Criterion 4K set that came out about a month ago.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic. Sounds fantastic. Really, Criterion did a really great job, and it's wonderful to have that Spine number 12 back in my collection. I had a DVD of Spinal Tap from back in the day. I never upgraded it, and now I have the 4K set. Looks fantastic. Includes the original archival commentaries, too, which includes the one they did as the band commenting on the film.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed watching that film. That one was really good. Spinal Tap II, the end continues. So we catch up with the band. It's 40 years later. Marty DeBurgi is creating a documentary of their reunion/final show. So it turns out that the original contract, Matt, included a clause where I guess that Spinal Tap had to perform one more concert, and they didn't perform it, so they have to come back together to fulfill the obligations of their contract. And this is then the documentary on that event happening, and of course all the crazy zaniness that happens to get that accomplished. Everybody returns. Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. As we said, Rob Reiner is here. We have a whole bunch of new people as well. And a bunch of great little cameo features too. But Matt, for me, I will say this. It's enjoyable enough. Like catching up with some old friends. Unfortunately, those old friends really don't have much to say. And don't have really any interesting to relay anymore.
Right.
But it's good enough. I'm happy I saw it. It was fun revisiting this kind of ground. But in the end, it's just mostly meh. It's mostly just okay. And I think it's a missed opportunity because we could have had a real chance at a real emotional impact for this film, you know, addressing getting older in one's personal legacy, not just inside a band, but as a human being, right? As a father or whatever, with humor and make it funny. And what's frustrating for me is that I feel like there are times they kind of dance around that, but there's no real attempt to do it. And I think it's to the detriment of the film. It's light, it's breezy. It has a couple good jokes in it, though I will say the end credits were probably the funniest thing in the movie for me. For me, Matt, this one sadly only goes up to 6, I would think. Not quite 11. What are your thoughts on The End Continues?
I was nervous about this film, right? I mean, it's a really tough act to follow, right? I knew that there was no way that it was going to be anywhere close to the original, right? All I was hoping for is that it got close. And I don't know if I agree with Chris. I don't think it really got close per se. It is enjoyable enough, right? It is kind of funny. It does have a very kind of dry sensibility, right? Where if you're not really paying attention, the jokes may just kind of go by you, right? Because it's like, was that a joke? Was that funny? Yeah, was that funny? But I think overall, it's just not as good. And I don't know if it's just because rock and roll is not the force it used to be anymore, right? And they don't even deal with the fact that rock's not even really popular anymore, kind of thing. So
I think that may be part of it, right? Because when the movie came out, it was a movie of its time. It was very representative of rock music, kind of, in music and the 80s as well, right? It really captured that feeling. And this film is just, it doesn't really, there's a joke about crypto. There's a couple little kind of timely jokes, but the band doesn't fit into that. This property doesn't fit into the current world enough.
Right. And the other issue is, I mean, we've gotten these kind of faux document rock docs done much better, right? I mean, Dewey Cox or, Pop Star, those are all much better films, right? I mean, I can't say that they're better than Spinal Tap, but they're definitely better than this. I agree with Chris. It was kind of nice. It's kind of like slipping into a pair of old slippers that, they don't have any cushion anymore. They're not really that comfortable, but you can't quite bear to get rid of them without wearing them one more time.
Yeah. My reaction watching this was I smiled a lot and I laughed like 3 times.
Right. Yeah, true.
So, I'm not quite sure what else to say, Matt. I'm sitting at a C+ for Spinal Tap II, and I think that's just because of my affection for the first film and all the people involved.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go to B-. I can't bring myself to be too harsh on it because I commend the effort, right? But I guess it's just that ship has sailed.
And it's a breezy 84 minutes. So
that's right. It is my favorite.
That's it. If you had a chance to see Spinal Tap II, The End Continues, which is currently in theaters, check it out. Enjoy yourself. It's a nice little antidote to the evil and just like the hopelessness that is A Long Walk. So feedback at thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear from you. All right, folks, let's go ahead and wrap up the show. Matt and I are going to share our 5 favorite Robert Redford films. Mine is kind of leaning towards performances, I guess. And that way I was able to work in this clip as a opener because he didn't star in this movie.
Herb, it's a hell of a thing. I'm looking at the thing today. The Trendex rating?
Yeah?
Well, to jam this thing, but you've plateaued.
Plateaued? What kind of word is that?
Well, plateaued?
Plateaued.
Plateaued? It's like you...
You mean people don't like me anymore?
No. It's not you per se. It's just...
Maybe I should get my teeth kept.
No, it's the nature of the show. They've already seen you win, and they want something new.
So what are you saying? You think they want me to lose?
Well, don't you think that's natural?
Joe Louis was the champ for 12 years. Nobody ever wanted Joe Louis to lose.
Think about the cause of education.
Cause of education? I waited 29 years for this. Now I'm supposed to take a dive for the cause of education?
I didn't say take a dive. Now I'm asking you for your help.
Matt, this is a clip from Quiz Show based on the 21 questions scandal. Came out in 94. Probably my favorite directed film by Redford. Very, very good movie, Matt. But I'm going to focus on the stuff he starred in. Matt, so why don't you start us off? What's your 5th favorite Redford film? And is there anything, too, that you kind of want to say, or do you have any feelings about Redford as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was always kind of this presence, right? I mean, he's this well-respected actor in the Hollywood community. He seemed to not have any real scandals or anything. He had some decent films, or good films. But I also, when I was kind of looking back this, I realized that there's a lot of Robert Redford movies that I haven't seen, right? So that was interesting. Like I've never seen The Natural and
really?
a handful of other ones, right? I mean, just a bunch of them that I haven't seen. So it'll be an interesting list here. But I think I respect him, but it's not like I was really a huge fan of his work, is where I followed everything that he did.
Fair enough. I would say just basically, too, I think how influential and important he was to the independent film community with the creation of the Sundance Film Festival. He really helped shepherd independent film, and it probably wouldn't exist in the state that it is without him. Now, granted, there is some negative stuff about how big budget and how big kind of independent film is now compared to what it started out as. Truly kind of this rogue and indie kind of thing. But still, he really helped open the door to another whole dimension and kind of pocket of film that we probably would not have experienced if it wasn't for his efforts. And then also, too, his focus on the environment and how dedicated he was to the ecology and everything, too. That was another great thing about Redford for me. So, all right. Go ahead, Matt. Start us off. Number 5.
So my number 5 then is not even really a film that he starred in, but I'm going to put it in here, even though it'll probably annoy Chris. I'm going to say as the Heavy in Captain America and the Winter Soldier. I like him slumming it in a Marvel movie, and I think he's quite good as a government bureaucrat who is evil.
He does add a nice air of legitimacy to the proceedings. Absolutely. A little depth, some gravitas, perhaps. I'll give you that. My number 5 then is a film Matt hasn't seen, which is The Natural. All the best baseball movies are not about baseball, or at least all the best sports films, right, are not about sports. And The Natural, I think, kind of falls into that category. One of my favorite sports movies. It has a soundtrack, a score, Matt, that makes me cry every time I hear it. I had The Natural on today while I was making dinner in the background, and Randy Newman's score, when it swells up, when he hits that home run, every single GD time, Matt, it gets me. And it's a great little film, and about Roy Hobbs. He's a ball player whose career it's cut short before it even starts, and he comes in now at an advanced age to try and rekindle his passion, and along the way he finds out what's really important. So I absolutely love The Natural. So that's my 5.
My number 4 then is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, a classic Western, which obviously has one of the great endings in Westerndom as they kind of head out to face their fate, right? I think it's a little lower to me because it's when the first time I saw it, I'd always heard that this is such a great Western. You know, it's like a classic. It's part of the, canon of the genre, but it's a little more less serious. It's a little more, funny, I guess, a little more than I was initially anticipating. And I think, it's really good, and it is a classic Western, but I think it's really held up a lot by its ending.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what I was going to say. I think one of the big key moments of that film is its ending, and it has a wonderful score as well, exceptionally well done. It's my number 4 too. Okay. I remember the first time I saw it too, I'm thinking about how kind of light it is at times, though it has that ending, like you say. But him and Newman, the way they play off each other, particularly with another film too that may come up on my list a little later, it's just wonderful to see two of these guys, and I'm just going to say it too, probably the best looking men in the history of Hollywood, working together. And just the star wattage of these two cats in the film together is just incredible. Both of them, it's just incredibly likable. They just demand your attention when they're on the screen. But still, the ultimate buddy Western for me is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I can't tell you how embarrassing it is how long it took me to realize why he named his festival Sundance, too. It's embarrassing how long it took me to make that connection.
That's funny.
But still, yeah, that's my 4, too.
All right, so then my number 3 then, speaking of Redford and Newman, is The Sting, right? A pair of con men who decide that after the murder of a mutual friend, they're going to go after and get revenge on a crime boss who they believe is responsible, set up an elaborate plan to take him down, and then, of course, everything goes horribly awry and they're forced to improvise. It's one of those films that was literally, like, everywhere, like in the 70s, right? And like talked about it a lot in the early 80s when I was growing up, and people were saying, "Oh, it's such a good movie, you have to go check it out." And you know what? It didn't disappoint overall. It's a classic heist film without the heist.
Yeah, so Paul Newman and reunite with the director George Roy Hill for The Sting, and maybe I'll bring it up later. But my next film is Alan J. I can't say the word. Pacolas, All the President's Men, teaming up with Dexter. Dustin Hoffman. Why am I stroking out? Another film written by William Goldman, who I believe wrote Butch Cassidy as well. But basically, it's the story of Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward and the takedown of President Nixon and the Watergate scandal. One of the better, if not best, political thrillers ever made. Came out in '76. Part of the whole kind of paranoia kind of trilogy kind of time of that as well, which another one of my films on my list really examines that too. But just back when you could still believe in the press and people you could rely on them to do stuff and investigate and relay the news to you without having to provide a sanitized both sidesy type thing. But still a thrilling adventure that has not like Indiana Jonesy adventure, but a thrilling kind of political thriller. Hal Holbrook, fantastic in this, as well as Deep Throat. Just a spellbinding kind of film. So All the President's Men is my 3.
Yeah, All the President's Men is my number 2. It's just shocking to me. It's a great political thriller in that kind of 70s vein, which you just don't get anymore. But it is, like Chris said, it is shocking to me that the press had some bona fides and they had some real teeth and they would go after stuff, and that, discovering that the president of the United States had, cronies break into the headquarters of the Democratic Party, right? That was enough to get him impeached, essentially, right? I mean, he resigned right before it happened. Whereas if something like that happened today, it wouldn't even be a blip. Like, it would literally be in and out of the news,
Stuff so much worse than that has happened.
I know. And he's still here.
One of the most frustrating points too is like you said, the lack of press involved. Everything now, it's just, what did they say, that Roger Ailes formed Fox News because he wanted to make sure what happened to Nixon would never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulled it off.
He did.
Rest in piss, Raj. So my number 2 then is The Sting, a film that I actually didn't catch up with until about 5 years ago, and it's just it's so much fun. In the end, is really why it's my 2. With one of the best, greatest double crosses, reveal type things in heist kind of cinema history. It is exceptionally well done. So much fun. Another great score as well. I think based off of what Scott Joplin's work, right? So like Marvin Hamlish did the work, but I thought they based it onto him. Regardless, it is so much fun. If you haven't seen The Sting, you absolutely have to check it out. Too, Robert Shaw is great in it as well as the heavy. Just when you think of kind of all-time great Hollywood cliched kind of films, right? And cliched in a good way, as it's an example of something to follow. The Sting is my 2.
So my number 1 then is Jeremiah Johnson, where Redford plays a mountain man who goes off into the wilderness, and just a bunch of crazy events happen one after the other, with the natives and settlers and finding rifles and clutched in the arms of a dead man kind of thing. And, it's just a film that, you'd watch with your grandfather, right? It would come on and you'd watch it, and it just kind of gives me that bit of a nostalgia hit. And it's also the source of the famous nodding meme. It's from Jeremiah Johnson.
I like, too, how many people now think that's Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who think that. I've never seen Jeremiah Johnson, Matt, so that's my natural for you.
All right.
So my number 1, then, is one of my favorite political thrillers. It's Sidney Pollack's 3 Days of the Condor, coming out in 75. Redford plays a CIA analyst, and their office is in a literary historical society kind of bookstore in New York City. He runs out to get lunch, comes back, and everybody in the office is dead. And he calls the CIA to report what had happened, and everything goes horribly, horribly wrong from there. Max von Sydow shows up as kind of a cleaner, and the dialogue and the scenes between the two of them are fantastic. Faye Dunaway, looking as just stunning as ever, is in this film, and then of course Cliff Robertson is another just sinister kind of guy. Anyway, I don't want to. This is one of those films you don't want to say too much, because the less you know about it going into it, the better it's going to be. Just one of the better, if not my favorite, kind of paranoia 70s government thriller after all the fallout of Watergate. That one, and what's the Beatty one, The Parallax View? Another fantastic one. But Condor, for me, is just fantastic if you haven't seen it. So that's my one. Any honorable mentions for you?
Not really, because that's basically all the movies that I'd seen by Robert Redford. I've never seen 3 Days of the Condor.
Oh, it's really good. I think you'd like it. I would throw in, I also liked All Is Lost. I enjoyed his turn as the Great Gatsby. Talked about Quiz Show. And then if you haven't seen it, it was almost my number 5. From the 90s, Sneakers is fantastic.
Yeah,
if you have not seen Sneakers, remedy that this weekend. That is a fun kind of spy adventure film. Family friendly, and just... It's a film, like Matt said, like the 70s stuff you don't see anymore. Sneakers is the kind of film you don't see anymore either. It's kind of like I don't know, how would I describe it? Well, it's not as cool as Ocean's 11. It's, like that, but it's just anyway, I don't want to spoil that one for you either. You just check it out. You're going to love Sneakers if you haven't seen it. All right.
Yeah.
Matt, what's coming up? Oh, feedback at thefirstrun.com. What's your favorite Redford film? We'd love to hear from you. All right, Matt, what's coming up next week on the show?
Next week, we're checking out Him, capital H, capital I, capital M. I'm not sure how Jordan Peele is involved in this.
Produced it.
Okay. All right. I think it's something about a football player, like a young football player who meets his idol and something creepy happens. So I haven't seen that much of it. It has a Wayans in it, so we'll see how it is.
What are you willing to do, Matt, to get your dream? That's right. In the meantime, go to thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows. The report card is there. There's a player. You just hit play, Matt, and then shows start playing. It's crazy. And also, what else? You can find us on Blue Sky and YouTube and Instagram as well. Just do a search for The First Run. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. Head on over to Apple Podcasts. Give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. And that is that. So we're going to go ahead, take an extended break. Take care of yourselves. We love you all very much, and we'll see you soon.
What do we got here? Red the Salvation Army Band?
Hop Fisher?
Who wants to know?
I'm Roy Hobbs, your new right fielder.